Real women murders, not fiction. Love women, don't kill them. Giving real women, unknown women, recognition to the world. Please support our channel and please subscribe.
We've now learned the name of the three people who were found dead inside of a Springfield, Virginia home. 38-year-old Meskerem Solomon, 31-year-old Emmanuel Solomon, and 47-year-old Tiku Gebreyesus were found dead in the basement of a home on Wild Spruce Drive by their housekeeper. Now, police are still investigating, but they believe Tiku shot his wife and her brother before pointing the gun at himself and pulling the trigger.
About the three people found shot to death in a home in a wealthy neighborhood in Springfield.
Yeah, police have just identified the victims, who leave behind three young kids, among them a baby boy who is about to turn 2 years old. DC News Now's Leonard N. Fleming has been working the story today at that cul-de-sac in Springfield. He joins us there live now.
Yeah, and Leonard, you've been talking to neighbors, including some who took in that young child last night. What are you learning?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a sad situation here. County detectives say a husband shot his wife and her brother before taking his own life. And the baby and the nanny were upstairs in this home. Police are actually wrapping up their situation here as we speak right now. And this has really hit this close-knit neighborhood very, very hard.
Very friendly, very kind, very maternal and loving when seeing her interacting with her boys. And
Heidi Belachew and her husband Carlos finally remember Meskerem Solomon, whom police say was shot by her husband in a double murder-suicide. The nanny and baby spent time at their home yesterday in the wake of the shooting.
I haven't really met her daughter much, just seen her a little bit here and there, but from what I saw of her, she was a lovely, very loving woman.
Police say the call to the home in the 8500 block of Wild Spruce Drive came around 3:47 p.m. The housekeeper found the wife, her brother Emmanuel Solomon, and her husband Tiku Gebreyesus with gunshot wounds. The family nanny and child were inside the home, but uninjured, police say.
We had the nanny over here with us trying to help care for the baby while the police were doing their investigation. And I actually, at first, because I was so involved in it, I didn't realize that was the baby, their baby.
Now a police cruiser and yellow tape guard the Solomon home that sits eerily still with a Range Rover and other vehicles in the driveway.
Everybody's devastated.
Our children really were also involved with that family.
The medical examiner will be doing autopsies to determine the manner and cause of death. Meanwhile, police are still working to try to figure out motives and how this could have happened. Reporting from Springfield, Leonard N. Fleming.
The three people found dead in a West Springfield home. Investigators found a handgun near their bodies. A 2-year-old child was also in the home and is alive. 7 News' Carl Willis is following the investigation tonight.
Even after giving their last update on this scene on this tragic day, police still had plenty of work to do. They need to identify the victims here, figure out why all of this happened, and answer some questions about the timeline of it all.
We have 3 deceased in the basement.
That discovery of 3 people shot to death in this home on Wild Spruce Drive sent police, concerned friends and family, and neighbors in the Springfield community reeling.
Overwhelming. I mean, it just happened so quickly. I had to take a step back, and I was like, there is something very active going on down there.
So stay back here, please.
Fairfax County police say a visiting housekeeper was in the home when she heard multiple gunshots coming from the basement.
The caller is advising that she heard the gunshots at about 13:45 hours and just discovered them deceased. She did say there is a 2-year-old in the residence upstairs.
Skytrack 7 was overhead when that child was taken from the home unharmed. But according to the dispatch communication, the housekeeper heard the shots just before 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon. If that timeline is correct, then the call to 911 for help from the family's live-in nanny did not come for another 2 hours at 3:47.
And we're working to determine what that delay was and why. We're looking to see what happened in the time that this occurred, and the nanny called 911, so that's part of the investigation.
Police tell us they found a woman in her 30s and a man in his 20s, both with multiple gunshot wounds, and a man in his 40s with a single gunshot wound. They believe this was domestic and are working to identify the deceased.
It's just devastating, because I was saying, you know, you don't think that these things are going to hit this close to home, and it does, and it's totally devastating when you hear about it, and just the consequences that can come about it.
Now, police say 2 other children also live in that home, but they say they were not home at the time of the shooting. They say the children are now with the nanny, and friends of the family are also helping out. In Springfield, Fairfax County, Carl Willis, 7 News.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate you. Please subscribe.